Uh, so we had our behaviorally anchored rating questions. So this is another concept of thing you might want to do. Again, our job is to create some level of objectivity to the extent we can. So in this case, what I've done is I've created some categories: education, experience, technical ability. Yours would be different than this, but it's just a suggestion. And then say, for example, we have 2 or 3 people doing the interviewing. We could each rate the candidate. I'm using a 5-point scale here on these different categories that we have determined in advance to be appropriate and important. And then we can add up the score and see who ends up with the highest score. Well, there could be a couple things. One, it may be that we think the best candidate isn't the one that has the highest score. That could happen. Now, I think at this point, the beauty of this is it causes us to ask the question, how did we come up with these ideas? Sometimes the person we like the most is the one who interviews the best. It doesn't mean they're the best candidate. So this can cause us to have a little higher level of reality, I guess, to the situation. Now, a potential problem is, though, that say we don't hire the person with the highest score, because I don't think legally in most cases you would be required to. The exception to that might be with some public kind of jobs. But the person who has the highest score comes back and said, you know what, I think you didn't hire me because I'm a member of a protected class. And they discover that, in fact, I had the highest score, so what's up with that? Well, you better have a pretty good reason for not hiring that person. Now, the thing is, with these rating systems, they don't account for everything. There can be other kinds of extenuating circumstances, other information, and that kind of thing. So I would probably document that. But sometimes, again, we may want to pick somebody who is the best interviewer, but this will help us determine who the best candidate really is. It's important, of course, to come up with categories that are really relevant and important for whatever the job is. And we can take this to another level. The previous one assumed that all these categories had equal value. With this, what we've done is determine that certain categories have more value than others. That's the yellow column where we weight the question. So education and training is worth 10 to 15% of the score. Experience 10% of the score. Way down at the bottom, working with others, we're saying is 20% of the score. Well, you determine in advance not only what the categories are, but then also what the weight is, and that weight just needs to add up to 100% of the total score. And then you score the person. In this case, I had a 1 to 5 rating scale. You could have a 1 to 3 or 1 to 10, whatever you want to do, but just multiply that out and then see what the end score is. Hopefully this gives you a little bit higher level of reliability and validity in terms of how you rate these candidates. So I think it gives you another piece of information. I think it's particularly useful that, if 3 of us are doing the rating, we each do it independently, and then we compare our answers. And, you rate them a 2 and I rated them a 5. So, well, let's talk about that. What did you see and perceive, and what makes the most sense? Because that's not unusual for 2 people to see things in a different kind of way. Again, it all points back to that subjectivity piece.